And welcome everyone to the GitLab Duo Coffee Chat. In today's session, it's relatively unplanned as always, but I thought about code tasks. So like the last time in the C++ version, we talked about using code tasks in GitLab Duo Chat, which we where the recording is linked and so on. And I thought of like maybe there's a way to refine the instructions, how to refactor code, how to test code specifically. And the other thing I wanted to test is test repository X-ray, which is a way to provide more context to code suggestions. So it scans the repository and then you get better code suggestions, which could also be a fun way to try out. Just figured I made a mistake with screen sharing. I want to share a portion of my screen, which should be this one roughly. So yeah, this is my browser, but I also have Visual Studio Code open. My question would be, which language should we try? Should it be Python, C++? What are your thoughts, Itzik? You're muted.
Sorry, yeah, C++ can be fine, but also Python good. So whatever, let's try C++ if it's good for you.
Yeah, I mean, for me it's good. I was just wondering where did my no, it's not a make file. Oh, the last time I moved GitLab Duo Chat to the right. Was it this one? Oh yeah. I learned something new the last time. So you can drag and drop the GitLab Duo Chat icon from over here into a separate pane. So you have like Duo Chat on the right-hand side all the time. But for some reason, the layout hides that by default. Anyhow, create a new C++ project for backend daemon that stores data in PostgreSQL. Maybe I should have, and this is an error I'm making with the prompts. Maybe like I want to create like talking to a human. What I learned in the past few weeks using GitLab Duo Chat is like asking, you can ask a lot of things, and oftentimes it's really like you get instructions and then you can like refine the prompt. It recommends, for example, using CMake for the build system, using CMake lists, and then installing everything. The key steps are setting up CMake, integrating backend APIs. So in essence, what we can do is, here's the Explorer. I'm creating a source directory. No, not the source file. Oh, man. And at some point, I'm hoping that I can ask GitLab Duo Chat to just generate the project structure for me. This would be awesome. But I can say, create a backend service that stores data in PostgreSQL. Use best practice libraries and 17S standard. And for finding the best prompt, it also requires time to learn and experiment a little bit. So What I'm expecting here is it either proposes to use a library or specifically it uses directly the C library, the libpq header, okay. And it creates a class PostgreSQL backend. Interesting. We get a main and backend store data. Okay. And now I figured that I don't have a PostgreSQL running on my local host, so it's probably better to refine the prompt and say use SQLite in SQLite, which could, I tried that yesterday with Rust in a similar fashion. So SQLite is something you can install locally with like Homebrew or on Linux with your preferred package manager. And the advantage for testing is that it's just a local file and it doesn't require a database daemon to run. So it can be a way to start with an implementation of a backend service in the beginning. And it's also a fun way to learn programming on its own. So this suggestion creates a table. What else do we need? Okay, we need to insert data. Okay. Already tells me that it's data, delete data. Okay. Okay, this is an example like this. Expected a declaration. The other thing which we tested last week was how to create a CMake lists configuration for the opened source code for SQLite. Maybe providing the context here. Because the source code needs to be compiled, it recommended to use CMake, and CMake is like the build chain. Okay. Not sure. Maybe I should not create a CMake. I think it assumes that there's some SQLite source code somewhere, which I wrote wrong. Create a CMake list text file to compile source code and add the SQLite dependence, SQLite header libraries. Should okay. Maybe I'm hitting a bug here. The source code is opened in VS Code and should be used as a base for generating CMake config. Create a CMake configuration for source and SQLite libraries. To be honest, I'm not sure what's going on here. Okay, if my request is more concise, I'm getting what I need. Okay, this is a learning a learning exercise to specify like what are the source code files and what should be like the SQLite libraries. But I'm pretty confident that this works now. We only need to add a file called CMake. Oops, CMake lists text file here. And it's auto saved. Open a new terminal and ask GitLab Duo Chat how to build the source code with CMake, like we did last time. And then hopefully when the code works, the idea is to ask GitLab Duo Chat how to refactor that. And I want to test, or like, I'm not sure if it works, but I want to today is not a good day. Maybe it's the typical Monday of AI. How to maybe there's a problem with GitLab Duo Chat as well. So one thing you can do when something is off, you can reset the conversation. But it's also sometimes helpful to restart Visual Studio, which I will do. This, yeah. I can just quickly close that. This is something else. And I have a yeah, no, not now. I mean, it's helpful to install several things, but in this case, how to build a project using CMake for C++ on the terminal. Maybe this is the missing context. And if you want me to like write something else or ask something else, feel free to jump in.
No, thank you. It's really useful. This is actually what I wanted to see how you interact with the chat and get answers, and because I never tested it, so it's really great experience for me. Thank you.
Yeah, and I mean, like I'm human here, and maybe I want to eat my keyboard at some point. So it's like a German saying when something is going wrong. But I feel like the more you practice and refine what you want, the better suggestions you get or the better responses. And here I'm like, I get the suggestion to install CMake as point number 1, which is great. Also just copy paste if you're using Debian or Ubuntu, which is the apt package manager. So if I would be using Linux or a Linux virtual machine, this is great. I can also use that to copy that into CI/CD script sections if needed. Or if I build my own container image later on and install CMake into it. And the instructions for C++ and CMake are like, you're creating a build directory where all the objects and artifacts are being generated. And the source code itself is not touched. So it's not like you have the object files circulating in different project subtrees, but rather like in the build directory, you compile it, you build it, you generate it. And if you don't need it, you delete it again. And the build directory should also be excluded from Git. So like adding it to Git ignore is just fine. Because oftentimes in my when I started learning development, I added binaries to the Git repository or even CVS many years ago. And this is not good practice. So when I learned about CMake and the dedicated build directory, I was like, finally not making the same mistake. Like trying to delete binaries from the Git history is not fun. So yeah.
Yeah.
So what I can do now is like on the terminal, I want to create using mkdir, which is make directory on Linux, build directory, then change directory into build, typing CMake dot, so building the outer directory in build, and hopefully it works. It does not, because my project what does it do? Target link libraries 21. Okay. Maybe we just rename that, and I think it has to do something with the SQLite libraries. How to search for SQLite 3 libraries using CMake. And this is also something I changed from a habit. Usually I open a browser window now and like copy the error message or search for the specific items. But oftentimes it's like it's better to stay in the same context and ask GitLab Duo Chat whether we can find it. And actually it explains find package SQLite required, and if it's found we should link it. Yeah, but I also always want to link that. How to install the SQLite 3 headers and library macOS using Homebrew. Maybe this provides some insight. I mean, what I can do is copy this one here. I actually can, for example, say this one, delete this one again. Brew update. Okay, I already have Homebrew installed, but these would be the instructions. And then it's brew SQLite 3. Can copy that and paste it in the terminal. But I think I have it installed already. Yes. So for some reason it cannot find the link. Please explain the error. I'm not sure if this works without so much context, but it would be the same what I would paste in a Google prompt, in a Google search. Cannot specify linked libraries. Target doesn't exist. I have specified the project.
It tells you how to fix it, I see. That's nice.
Make sure target is actually created within the CMake project. Interesting. Just not sure. And now I need to like cheat a little bit. What did we do in the previous one? And with a project set include. Yeah, we're adding the executable. Target include directories. Okay, maybe it's a direction problem. Magic. Okay, so we need in CMake, you need to define everything. Then you define the executables. Then you deal with the dependencies, and then you link the libraries. Because at this point, it knows about GitLab Duo. Okay. I could use CMake build or just make here. Or what I also can do is like going back into the main project root and type in make dash big C and build. I can build from the outer directory. Oh, this would have been too easy. Expected unqualified ID. Type specifier. Okay, this is probably not the best code. What I can do here is to say, explain this code, maybe. I'm not sure if explain this code is capable of fixing programming errors, but it's worth a try. I think that.
How did you do the explain? You highlighted the code and did slash and explain? I think I missed.
Yeah, I figured what's wrong, but what you can do is you can select the source code, right click, and at the bottom, and this is a menu, it might change, which is called GitLab Duo Chat. And then you say explain selected code. So you need to select the source code,
yes.
and then you have 3 code tasks. So if you look it up in the documentation, it's called code tasks, which should be documented in a bit. So I do know there's an MR open, and generate test and refactor works quite the same. What you also can do is, I mean, you can practice the shortcuts in Visual Studio Code, but you can select the source code and then navigate here and say tests,
yes.
not tests, explain, and then it will also take the selected source code into account.
Yes.
And I just, before like trying that out and looking at the error messages, I was like, okay, in C++, I need to wrap things into a function. I cannot write source code top down. Yeah, I mean, the code itself is fine, but I need to have some sort of like, I mean, this is fine. This is a global variable, which is not good practice, but sometimes needed in C or C++. But I really need to like write that into main function. So what I can do now is, since we can compile the source code, I will delete this, and or maybe not delete it, but package status. Let's first fix this and commit it, and then I want to commit it and then show how to create a better prompt. So we can add everything and initial prompt with CMake. Not working yet. What I want to do here is, oh no, just certain things. Oh yeah, now that I've deleted it, I get better suggestions. Interesting.
Okay, nice.
But the problem here was we didn't have a main function defined. So like C++ needs an entry point, like the main function, and from there you can call a function, can create objects and whatnot. And I totally missed that now. So create a main function which calls the backend functions to create, update, delete user data. Maybe this works. This was pretty fast actually. So while I'm typing, it's probably sending it already in the background.
But
and
I don't see the main. There is no main, right?
There is no main. Oh, no, change the.
Yeah, I see. Now there is main.
Yeah, but maybe let's try it again.
Anyway, I see I'm in the time that I must leave now. So really, thank you. It was a really great session. And I will watch. Okay, see you later. Thanks.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
I will send you the recording and you can see how far I got.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Good luck. Good luck. Amazing. Bye-bye.
Okay. Then let's see. We're getting different suggestions here, but maybe let's scope this down to create a main function which calls and write some and update the data. That doesn't make sense. Start with a single main function. I think this makes sense. Because as a next step, when we have the source code available, we can also think about oh, it's actually a good suggestion. Use best practices and include all necessary headers. Because it's importing SQLite, but it should also, this is not that, but if I want to use code generation, I usually need to delete the entire thing here. Now it's generating C code, which is not exactly what I want. And I mean, it's still valid C++ code, but fprintf is more like C code. No. We're getting there. Maybe it's better to like create a backend service that stores data in SQLite. Implement a user table in the main function. Insert user test data and then see what happens. Maybe it's, yeah, maybe the prompt was a little too intense, especially with like the user data. But looking at it, it looks good because we are using std string. Let's see. We have the user struct. This makes sense. We're using std string for name and email. we're creating a table if not exists, which is great because otherwise we would be getting errors with consecutive statements. And then we insert something, or it's actually using bind, which is also great to prevent SQL injection and other things. Okay. So if we save that now and build it, this should actually be working. Or it doesn't, the linker throws an error. SQLite bind int. Let's maybe move into build on CMake again. Oh, I love debugging linker errors. I'll explain this linker error from CMake. For some reason, it cannot find the functions. I remember now, we removed that, so possibly we're not linking the libraries because it's not found by CMake. So let's try it again. Okay. Define symbols, SQLite ones. The SQLite libraries. Maybe it makes sense to delete the cache. Yes. Okay. Not today is not my day. So yes, I want to delete that. And I want to redo it. Okay. Yeah, it's now. Hopefully it's. And now the error is the same. So for some reason, the SQLite 3 libraries are not providing symbols. Okay, this is not fun to debug. Linker command cannot find the SQLite 3 libraries. How to debug this? Maybe it also makes sense to refactor the source code into a specific check forums like Stack Overflow or the GitLab forum for systems. Okay. No, I don't want to read this the linker source code. I'm just figuring out what did I do wrong. Maybe it makes sense to read the documentation for CMake just a bit. So if I want to CMake link error with SQLite, so what is wrong here? Maybe I need to use flags. No. No, some specific flags. Target link libraries. No, I don't want to set flags. Do I need to do that? I've already specified that I need to link that. Maybe it's helpful to specify that still on macOS. Link libraries. Find package. Okay. So we have SQLite libraries, include version, import the target. So we are using that. But maybe we need to find package. For some reason, it cannot find the SQLite libraries. But let's ask GitLab Duo Chat for a moment here and say we want to how to print a variable in CMake for debugging. I want to see what the value is of SQLite underscore libraries. I assume it's empty. Message, okay. So if I use message and say, I think so. Let's try it. Let's navigate into build or CMake again. Yeah, there I see it. Fancy, it's empty. So for some reason, it cannot find SQLite 3. So essentially, if we need to improve, if not, what is the error? Find SQLite 3. Oh yeah, this is the one. If not this error, does this exist? I don't know. I cannot remember. how to print an error message and exit. I mean, it doesn't solve the entire problem, but it's more user-friendly to throw an error when a library is not found, which then can also be provided with instructions how to fix that. Message fatal error. Oh, that's great. So essentially, I can specify the message level or the log level similar to syslog and say SQLite 3 not found. Please ensure to install it properly. To do docs here. So this should probably link to the troubleshooting docs or whatever you have. And time call exit. Yeah, we should want to exit immediately. Then we call CMake. Oh, if not, what did I do wrong here? Let's ask GitLab Duo Chat again. How to check if a variable is not set in CMake. If conditions is interesting. If not defined. Okay. Every language has different syntax if not defined. Yeah, and I'm also using the wrong brackets. It should be the curved ones. That's not found. If I run it again, I get the error message. Okay. This is progress. Right. Yeah, this is a version, and this is probably installed somewhere. So what I can do is, or I probably changing habits again. How to pass custom value for find SQLite 3 CMake for header library pass. So maybe because I'm using something like opt homebrew or a different path where it cannot detect I cannot detect the libraries. So I could be adding this directly into the CMake file. Or I could also create like a search lookup path that should be looking. That's actually a great answer. CMake prefix path. It's a good question. What did I do in my previous projects? Let's see. How to how to ask that question. SQLite include directory. How to detect header files installed with Homebrew in a CMake project. Do I need to set a specific prefix environment, etc.? It's been a long time since I last touched this, more than 5 years or something. So I cannot really remember. I think I needed to specify something and use that maybe in a shell environment. Okay, interesting. When using Homebrew on macOS, the header files are typically installed under user local include. To help CMake find this header, you can set the CMake prefix path variable to user locally before calling find package. I mean, this would work for my environment, but not for others. So if this looks on it, okay. So if I copy that, maybe there's a as a follow-up. Okay, let's just copy the entire thing. Maybe there's a way to refine that so the prefix path is either user local or user and so on. So my second question would be how to use with a list of lookups to ensure it works on macOS, Linux, and Windows. Maybe a list of lookup paths will have been a better description here. And time is running fast. A list of semicolon separated paths. Okay, that's interesting. So I could say, well, I want to use user. Oops, and this one. This probably needs something like this. Okay. Let's try that out. No, it cannot find it. Okay, this maybe. So sometimes when CMake is not working or things are cached, it's also a good idea to delete the build directory and start again. But I believe the error will still be there. Yeah. So it cannot be found. Let's maybe try to specify this one. No. Okay, it can still. What else can I learn from my previous Google games? Find package. That doesn't make sense. Oh. No. How to link CMake and SQLite. Find library. Find SQLite 3 CMake on macOS. Okay, this is include search paths. This should actually work. Oh, interesting. Maybe I need to provide my own CMake library. But this is something I actually want to avoid. This seems to be a little more tricky than I anticipated. Oh, too much advertisements. Hmm. This is the most recent version of Fine SQLite 3. What does it do? It searches in the include tier. Information. How old is that? 4 years. Okay. It seems to be quite challenging. Like module path. I mean, I can do that. You probably should be doing that to some degree. I want to use a custom SQLite CMake. Look up. This one should work. And we need to create a directory for, it's called CMake. And let's look at that. I need to do something specific. Hmm. Okay, I could So there are two options now. I could write my own CMake lookup file or try to fix the path somehow. And to be honest, I'm not sure if user local is the right path. But I can like search for no, it doesn't exist. Is it opt local? No, it's opt homebrew actually. Oh yeah, I think that explains it. So the problem is it's not user local as I would have expected or guessed, but the prefix is opt homebrew, and probably opt homebrew. How to, where is the include path on macOS homebrew in opt homebrew? Oh yeah, there it is. So I need this one, but I'm not sure how to define the include lookup path. I think opt homebrew should be sufficient, but I'm not sure if that's enough. Let's try that. Create the build direct. No type today. Create builds and go CMake again. Okay, it's not possible. What was the path again? There, opt homebrew include, yes. Okay, opt homebrew include is there. But for some reason, there is no symlink into SQLite. Reinstall SQLite 3. Do I need to specify some specific headers? I mean, the path should be opt homebrew include on this setup. For some reason, it doesn't install that. But I don't need to install a specific def library. How to install SQLite on macOS using Homebrew and enable the development libraries headers. Oh. Oh. Oh no. Okay. By default, Homebrew installs SQLite without the development headers and libraries. To also install these, use a flag. Okay. With that. And the option doesn't exist. Okay. Maybe it's for an older version of Homebrew, but brew, I don't know the exact syntax, but brew info. Oh, it actually tells me in the compile, you may need to set the linker flags to this, and oh, this is a strange path. It's opt homebrew opt SQLite include. Okay, so the include path is this one. Not sure if I want to override this, but there a way to how to set header search path in CMake. Maybe there's a way to create a variable which like doesn't override that, but yeah, I don't know the answer how to set a header search bar in CMake. How to find package headers in CMake. Specify path where path list somewhere. I mean, it's good practice for GitLab Duo Chat to get a lesson how CMake works, because I couldn't really remember. Set CMake include path. Okay, path to headers, include directories. I could override these prefix paths, but I could also just say include directories, which would also be a better way. But I want to, I actually want to use include dears from find package. So it would be amazing if find package works. So I could use best practices here. Set CMake include path. How to set CMake include path for find package in CMake and amend a list of possible paths. Hello? Need to drink something. Yeah, okay. Let's remove that and say set CMake include path. Okay, we have auto-completion. And we want to amend this one. Okay, yeah, this appends to new paths to the existing variable. The path will be searched in addition to the default path and find. Okay, it's gone. I mean, it's not great. But it will work for this instance. And I bet there is CMake library path as well, which we can amend in the same way. So we can say, no, not this, CMake library path. And I have a feature request. I also want code suggestions for writing CMake files to get more intelligent suggestions and auto completion. In this area, what was the output? We want to use this one. And yeah, it's enough. If we store that, yeah, I could also SQLite binary is okay. I'm not sure if we need to use the package config path, but let's try again. No, build, to recreate build. Probably there's a better way to do that. Okay, we have found SQLite, but it still fails. Okay. So for some reason, if not defined, what we found. Yeah, maybe this is a problem with not spelling this out correctly. No. Should probably write a chain of commands. So like using a semicolon, moving out of build, deleting build, creating build, changing into build. Okay. And then running CMake again. It's still not found. Message. What is the value of that? SQLite found is true. Yeah. It is defined. But this is the correct check. Yeah. For some reason, SQLite libraries is still not set. Let's see. It doesn't solve the problem yet. So it is able to find the headers, which is great. but it's not able to find the libraries. So this magic path here does not provide it provides the dynamic linked libraries. Okay, SQLite is found. Find package. Okay, the suggestion is to use a different make file. Yeah, could also be an option. Or maybe let's just no, not this terminal. Let's use Visual Studio here and navigate into CMake and then call wget. Then navigate into build again and okay, this was not a great idea. Non-CMake command check library exists. So by using a different library now, but this is probably either old or needs additional data. The other thing I need to make sure is this is licensed under a specific license. So there needs to be attribution to the authors of this project. If I want to continue using the CMake file. I think likely uses either some CPAC settings or config. Not sure if I want to continue this path. Okay, I need to actually include check library exists. Okay. So let's try again. Okay, now it finds the SQLite libraries. That's great. Does it build? Oh, I can build it. It's great. Okay, that means it keeps the copyright, which is fine, but still it needs attribution. So let's create a new file. No, not here, but here. Oh. Let's create a README. This is a GitLab Duo Coffee Chat. C++, SQLite, and CMake adventures with Duo Chat. Let's call it like this. Maybe I change the title later on. We want to say thanks make find SQLite 3 was that original copyright and credit is due. Did I do this one? And in order to how I can get a permalink to that? Is there a way for that? Permalink. So I want to copy the exact revision, and the same feature exists on GitLab as well. To ensure we are linking was copied. Oops. Was imported from let's make sure to just link into our source code and then correct the grammar here. This is not thanks. Should be the license section. Just use the GitLab license here with it, which is MIT. And we also have some things to do. Update with resources. This is a to do for myself later on. And how to use that. That's a markdown. Build, cd build, CMake, and make build. Okay. Build. And we can also run the program, which should be build. Let's see. It's actually in there. It's really just. And if I run that, nothing happens because we didn't really continue with the source code, but I do believe that something might have happened, which is a database file has been created just now, and I immediately talked over the 1 hour while debugging things, but I really wanted to see whether I can fix the problem. And it turns out it's really just CMake figuring out or finding the correct library path. I'm not sure if this will work on Linux or Windows, so I'd appreciate like a merge request or an issue in the project later on. But yeah, I mean, finding an alternative way to look up include paths and link against it has always been like a good case for CMake. If the upstream functions are not up to date. So it was a good learning exercise, a good practice, even though we didn't write that much code. Now, what happens here is we're inserting some users. The other thing I want to do now is delete one user and update the other user to use GitLab.com email address. See if that works. Oh, it's amazing. Okay. Yeah, we also need to file and close the statement. So this should also work. What I also want to do before doing that is, and I mean it's a long spaghetti code now. Yeah, read the data from the database. Actually, this is exactly what I want to do. I want to print it. What else can I do? Okay, while SQLite steps statement, SQLite row. This is a typical thing. We're getting the ID, and we're getting. Okay, yeah, it's a C library with interfaces, so I need to use const unsigned char pointer. Cannot immediately cast it to std string here. Okay, can print that, close it. This is fine, actually. And if this works, I will just copy the code and later ask it to refactor, I think. So this doesn't work immediately because, okay. We need to use include iostream, oops, the common error. And iostream should also be on top. This is nothing I would ask GitLab Duo Chat now, but we got also mine. I mean, we can try. Can copy the error. If this works, I will just copy the error without context. No, just kidding. But if we run that, okay, it's not using proper rendering. That's helpful. The initial brackets are interpreted as HTML code. Should be escaped to show include stream. I mean, that's the thing. If you test something, you find a bug, you report the bug. These 5 seconds or this minute needs to exist. So if I run that, exactly, I run it again, it should have changed. I run it again, okay, it's just the same. Yeah, this makes sense. This is fun. And I'm being totally honest here. I've never implemented a C++ program with SQLite from scratch in my entire life as a developer. I always jumped into existing projects using MySQL or PostgreSQL even. Or actually it was Oracle in 2009, which also was an interesting experience to learn. We might be doing that in the future. What I wanted to do now is, and this is what I actually want discussed with Itzy earlier, I want to refactor that source code. So maybe that's the first thing I can do here is to say I want to explain what the code does. So I've selected it here and I can say explain, select that, enter, and send it. So it now will aim to explain what the source, what the SQL statements are actually doing. The next step is I want to refactor that. I could generate tests for that, but it doesn't make much sense. So the good thing here is it's opening a SQL database file. It creates a user table if it doesn't exist already. It prepares an insert statement. It prepared statement with bindings and inserts things. Then it queries it, deletes it, and closes the database. It uses best practices, which is great. So code suggestions for C++ and SQLite work great in GitLab Duo, which is also nice to know. To avoid SQL injection issues, which is great. When I learned programming, I didn't even know about the SQL injection issues and needed to learn it the hard way. Using SQL step and funnel as to execute. Okay. Binding parameters, wrapping resource handlers in. Okay. Yeah, using C++17 standard features like std string is also available in C++ 2003 or even like the 99 standard. So anyhow, I think this was me with my instructions on top because I wanted to use some fancy modern functionality, but this is not available there. The next thing I want to do is to refactor the source code, but okay, let's try to refactor just once. But the next step I want to try is to actually see if we can use specific functions or specific algorithms. So I want to have some refactored code, which is testable, but is also efficient. Okay. Oh, it's actually finished. I shouldn't be thinking so much. So what I get here is, and if I make this a little bigger, for reusability and readability, we can create a table, we can insert a user, we can print users. What is this actually great? Delete user, and what we do is we pass the connection handle as a pointer into it. So we need to pass that into the main function all the time. So what I also want to do now is make this code a little more bad by copying this one. Yeah, I opened it again. So when I build this again and run it, I have more prints. So what else can I do? Add a new database column. Maybe there's a way to refactor that into a single schema. Add a new database column for storing a hashed password. Okay. Yes, let's accept that. Update all users with. Yeah, okay. This needs a front-end change then to enforce a password change. So actually, I don't want to set a default password now. Add a column which requires the user to change their password. This will be used as a way to send out password reset emails later on. A comment for myself or for the implementation. Okay. That looks good actually. So if I save that and print add more users myself And okay, do I have a name? Yes, I have a name. Let's add my full name. Add more users. Add one more user. Let's see if that actually works. Maybe I should have written add one user to the database. Email. Okay, it uses email size. And okay. User 3. Oh yeah, we're actually using a struct. We could change the format to use auto increment for the key, for the ID, but this now it doesn't make sense to change that now, but we can accept that. And oh yeah, we should finalize the statement. This actually saves a lot of thinking of like, what do I need to do with the statement and the DB? So sometimes I have forgotten this, then it leads to like memory leaks or database errors, or when you reuse a database or a statement handle, but it hasn't been processed yet, which generates funny things and so on. But yeah, so we need to build that again. And did the insert work? Yeah, the insert should work, but we didn't print all users in the database. Maybe add more context, print all users in the database table users. Yeah, in the database table users, because in this context, we already have the database handle. So it should reuse. Are we close to DB? Do we need to open the DB again? I mean, we can do that. It's no problem. The idea is to create some inefficient code here. So what I want to do now, build this and print that. And I can see that my user is not being added. Which is interesting. So we have prepared the statement, we have bound the things. That's three-step statement. Okay, the difference here is it's transient. I have no idea what this means. Explain the flag for SQLite 3. Find text. Please give better instructions. SQLite 3 bind text has a flag called please explain its purpose. Interesting. Describing the problem and then asking to explain works. If I say explain that flag for whatever, it cannot understand that I mean a function. Maybe it's even better to write SQLite 3 bind SQLite bind 3 text as a function, takes the parameter SQLite transient. Please explain how the parameter influences the function execution. Could also be a way to get a more refined answer. Ah, okay, this is about the string data. That it can store a pointer to the string data instead of copying it. Okay, so we are making, or we keep the string data in our scope, and SQLite doesn't need to worry about freeing the memory again, because we are the memory holders, and the user object gets destroyed at the end of the function, which is the scope of the main function right now. I'm just wondering what happens here. Select from users, internet to users. If we build that again, just not sure why the insert doesn't work. Try to take that column. Ah, it's using the same pattern over here. I didn't realize that. Find int SQL prepare. So we're using SQL prepare for the database. Statement. User ID. Okay, it's getting too late. Actually wanted to like also think about my newsletter. So what I can do now is the code is unreadable to debug right now. I could still debug it, set some breakpoints and debug what is exactly happening at which point. So there might be a way to, you can also like load, and I don't know the syntax, but we can also ask GitLab Duo Chat how to load an SQLite database on command line. I would assume it's like SQLite and then database file, probably, yes. Select stuff from this. Okay. Okay. I want to inspect the data from an SQLite database manually. Therefore, I need to open a connection to the database on the terminal and command line. What is the exact command for this? this works. But over here is like selection. Okay, there's just one entry in the database, which is a little weird because, yeah, we had two, we updated one and we deleted. Okay, yeah, with the refine prompt, I get a better suggestion. Okay, this is also good learning. Interactive prompt, which is great. But for now, I don't know exactly why the user is not inserted. Or maybe it's just, maybe it's also just this one. Let's comment that out. And Control D exits the terminal from SQLite. We build the code again. We run it again. Yeah. Yeah. I can see why nothing happens, and this is some missing error handling. The database handle is not open again because it's closed. So, I mean, it's fine in this scenario, but I would need to always open the database handle again, because otherwise this doesn't work. Or I keep the database connection open. So there is error handling missing, definitely. But we can try to fix that now. At least the things are, yeah. Now that we have a database connection every time, it makes sense. But the code is not great because it doesn't check whether database how to check whether the SQLite 3 database handle is opened or not before executing an SQL query. Not sure if I get an answer now since I didn't talk about C++, but it should know about the context. Oh, I can call xdb status. Okay. This is a good idea to refactor the source code. Let's try if this works. So I don't want to read from the database, but maybe for the last statement. For this one, I want to select that and then say refactor. Add error handling and check if the database connection is opened before executing the query. Does this work? Let's see. So I would expect the formatting is a little off here. But we can provide feedback on that. The answer is helpful, but the formatting of the code block What's wrong? Seems that I've seen that with Python before. There seems to be a specific answer that then is attempted to render in Markdown. But here I can see that it tells me like if the database cannot be opened, it's throwing an error. And also here is like the statement for that. So the key changes are check the return code of SQL open, check the return code of the prepare function step, and also reuse existing SQL3 close call. Okay, this is actually a great idea, even though the code is a little off in formatting. But maybe let's try to implement that in the fashion it was proposed. I mean, a little typing doesn't hurt. So, oh, yeah, okay. I can also rely on code suggestions to tell me what to do here. But I also want to add more specific context in, for example, error opening database, adding a colon and, oops, this one, and maybe I get a suggestion here, maybe not. No, I don't think so. SQLite. SQLite 3 has an error message formatting function. And we pass the DB handle here. Okay. That makes sense. Error opening the database. And the same applies for if correct. Not SQLite. Okay, this is a C macro. Oh. Okay. So it's okay. The error checking is always this error message. This makes sense. So okay, yeah, this makes a little sense. A little off from the formatting. Oh, yeah, maybe let's try again. Now it makes sense. The suggestion now is better. So from a learning perspective, I need to ask GitLab Duo Chat how to refactor that and give instructions to add error handling and check if the database connection is open. So I get a proposed change. And then it's up on myself whether I want to copy the entire rendered code or generated code, or if I inspect the source code and then use code suggestions again to autocomplete what I want to do here, because now it knows error opening the database with the string, error preparing statement. This is the context of the prepare statement. It uses the same method here. The next thing which we should check for is SQLite 3 step. So if we continue writing this, this is potentially much faster than just copying source code blocks blindly. It depends on the strategy. If this would be well formatted, for example, I would just probably copy paste it and continue using that. But I also like the way of modifying text SQLite bind in text. Just want to make sure. Oh yeah, step is the one which executes this. So we want to modify this one. And say, oh, I didn't know that SQLite done needs to be checked. I was expecting SQLite okay. This is amazing. We could either use std cerr or just std out. I mean, this doesn't change much from what we're doing here. Oh, it actually knows that this was an insert statement. Oh, nice. And yeah, the reset, finalize, and close statements, they are fine. So now that we have error handling, we can like build the code again. It builds, we can run it. It should do the same. No. Unique constraint failed, users ID. So probably I'm inserting something what shouldn't be inserted. And the error originates from this one. So the user with the user ID 3 already exists. Yeah, because I'm not using an empty database. So in order to like start this again, we delete the database, then we run it again, it works. And if you run it a second time, the unique constraint comes in. So why does this not happen for the other users? Because the other users, maybe they're using a different method to the 1 and 2, insert into. Then we are deleting user 1. And user 2 gets updated. Okay, it's an interesting behavior. Oh no. I only get the error because I added error handling for this code portions. So I didn't add error handling for the other statements, which, I mean, let's add, which means we have some homework to do. And I'm not sure I want to do this now, but we can try. I just want to make sure we are adding add CMake, SQLite, lookup, and working code, partially refactored for error handling. So, okay, yeah, this is fine. What I also wanted to see about is if we can get a suggestion. And let's see. Let's add a to-do. To-do error handling. And this one again. To-do error handling. Already knows that I want to add that. And here the same. And actually, I mean, I would totally love to have that somewhere in a function and only have the error handling. So what I want to do is to ask how this could be refactored. Maybe let's try the entire function. It's nice. I didn't write much code of that 170 lines. So maybe I can refactor that into refactor use functions to update the user data. implement DB error handling. We remove duplicate. Optimize memory usage. I don't know. Maybe it works. This is a fun example. This is probably something we can do every week. Continue building an application. Maybe the next step is to actually, I mean, I have a PostgreSQL set up somewhere, or maybe have it running in a Docker container, and then refactor the code once again to support more databases. So what I can do here is, I want to create a user table, I want to insert things into user table, want to print the users. Okay. Centralize error handling. Oh, use SQLite return counts for control flow instead of booleans. This is a great idea. So it's actually it's returning the actual error, so we can check that if we want to. I mean, it doesn't do that here. But okay, this is a pass through. This is one which is dynamic. So insert user. Insert user does what? Okay, insert user doesn't have error handling, but it should have. But I mean, I ask a lot of things. Maybe I can refine that and say, insert user, print users. Yeah, let's. Did I save that yet? Not exactly. Oops. So we have functions, and this. Oops, no. The thing I want to do here is, maybe let's just copy everything. Just for the moment, add a new source file, which we call db.cpp, and copy this here, but not this one. And it's not finished yet, but we need to include the SQLite 3 header. Yes, this one. We need to include string, and we also need to include IO3. Oh, it actually knows that. That's great. So what we also want to do is add a new directory, which is called include, and add a file which is called dbh. And what was the syntax? If and def define the preprocessor macros. Oh no, and if. Yeah. So in this scope, I can, and now in the meantime, Please explain the purpose of preprocessor macros in C++ header files. And so there's some entertainment on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, I'm trying to think. Oh, it actually, okay, it knows the open context. So I can add the function prototype to get a user. Okay. Inclusion guards, even the header prevent the header from being included multiple times. Okay, yeah, that's expected. A great explanation. Feature detection constants. Def buffer size. Yeah, the preprocessor before compilation. Okay. Include guards is the thing we want to do here. Essentially, what I want to do is, and this is fancy copy paste now. I don't want to use that one. I just want to make sure this. Oh yeah, I also need to fix the other thing. We actually need. No, we only need this one. We need to ensure we are including everything the header needs. But we don't need user. Oh yeah, we have a problem with user as well. The user struct needs to be moved into the header. This is required. Otherwise, this won't, the statements won't work. And the reason is we also need to include std string here. So this will work. And we also want to create user table. We want to use this function. And I don't know if we have implemented that. But here we have print user as well. So we could start implementing additional functions if we want to. Okay. Now that we have done a little bit of refactoring, we can say IOStream stays, but I want to include, it's not in the same directory, but here, yeah, actually want to include this one. Thanks, GitLab Duo. Yeah, I think it was auto-completed. So we have these functions. I also want to see if I can get, okay, it uses the same method as before. Just fix the indent quickly, and there you go. And I will stop after refactoring this in a working way. Now we can print the users, we can insert a user, and we also want to create the user table. So this is something we should be doing here. The only difference is we need to keep the database handler open. So essentially, this is also a problem here. We need to remove this and remove this and include, we need to include and pp.h is probably not a good name. No, for this scope, it's okay to include this. And we also need to make sure that include. It should determine that it needs to include the header file automatically. We just need to make sure that the database CPP is included. We have create user table and want to use that in main.cpp. If create user table, nice. This is exactly what I want. Now, we also want to let's see if that works actually. Not sure if I need to run CMake again. Maybe. Okay, now I'm generating some errors because I removed certain things. So what did I remove? Let's check the diff. Yeah, so these two things need to stay until things get fixed. Ugly, but it's not. Let's see. Let's move them over there and say to do remove after factory. So I think this makes sense. So, oops. We built it now, it should work again. And if we run it, oops, we get it. We have a database and it works. Oh no, it says error creating table. What does it do? Maybe if node exists, SQLite prepare. Okay, so the return code is the return code of this. And step returns done or something else. So this shouldn't be SQLite. Okay, this should actually return SQLite done, if I recall that correctly. Yeah, okay. It's a little confusing with the different error codes, but essentially the table was created. And we also want to just call if, oh, that's great. I don't need to type anything anymore. Let's, before we continue here, which status, we should add Stern. This is a Stern is a German word. And this one.db should be ignored. And what else do we need? We need to add include, and we also need to include the source. So refactor store code into DBs TPPH. And create table from function. Okay. It's working great, but now I'm nearing 2 hours. Let's see how to make this interesting at least. And have some more readable code. The good thing is, now that I have this here, GitLab Duo knows what I want to do. I want to call insert user. So let's do that. And I also want to insert a second user because I've defined it already. I could continue. Oh, it actually knows. It knows what to do. Do I have get all users implemented already? No, probably not. But we could just do that. For now, we just want to remove all the duplicated code here by here. And no, we don't want to close that yet. This is also not necessary. But if we build that again, let's see, make build and execute it. Table created, user, error inserting user. So in order to test it again, we're deleting the database file, run it. Now both users are inserted successfully. And in order to user, let's refine that and say user one dot use the usernames, yeah, and the same over here. So it provides us with more readable output. So user2 dot name should also work. And now let's use our copy paste powers. Would work. And over here we also use 2. And user one dot name. This is easier. Copy paste is not good, but this should work. And if we know what's happening today, I want to build that. So build the source code and run it. Okay. Now we have inserted the user correctly, and in the second time there will be an error. Yeah. So this one is a fix, but it's good. So this is something we also were able to refactor. Refactor user creation into proposed function. Duo chat. I mean, attribution is Duo chat in that regard. And the last thing is we want to print all users. And we have that here. So I think that looks pretty sane. Now we'll probably continue implementing more functions next week. I just want to make sure we're using print users, which print users. Yeah, could do that, but I actually want to just call. In this case, I need to cheat a little and say, oops, I know what I'm doing, even if many things are suggested. And print users should actually work like that. And here I say you do continue refactoring next week. And it's 2024 already. And today is 9th of January. So I'm adding a to-do for myself to continue refactoring and implementing the functions, which we can like ask. But for now, let's delete the database again, and probably some cleanup cycle to restart from scratch would be great. So maybe we implement a function to do evaluate a drop all function for testing. But yeah, table created successfully, user inserted successfully. It's not perfect yet. Then we have that, and oh, we didn't. Did we? No, we did not. This is a missing piece which we'll quickly fix. We will if yeah, exactly. And now that I've been using the same pattern as before, that I want to print the username, it knows about it. It's amazing. It uses the proposed syntax I was implementing above, so it's great to have that context. So I don't need all of that. Which makes the code much more readable. Now, one final time, let's build it. It works. Let's print it again. Oh, let's run it again. Bad parameter or API misuse. Okay, interesting. What is different to the other users? Oh, the database was closed. Yeah, we need to fix that. To do remove after refactoring. A little bit annoying to build so much bad code. No, I don't want to run it. I want to build it. And there it goes. Here it is. I'm inserted successfully, which means we can get status, refactor code to use insert and print functions only in next week. Okay. I'm not sure if I can push the project. Yeah, I need to fix that later on, but it will be published, as always, in the GitLab Duo Coffee Chat group. Other than that, let's do a short recap. The idea was to test code suggestions, code tasks. So essentially, we didn't touch on X-ray, but rather emphasize on GitLab Duo Chat and figure out how far we can go. So we wanted to learn about code, but in the end, it turned out that the session, or that it's a little complicated to learn and use CMake list text CMake and the entire configuration. So this was also a great learning curve to debug why SQLite as a dependency with libraries and headers was not included, and also to ask GitLab Duo Chat a long list of, let's call on top. So essentially, it would be nice to export the history to give others the opportunity to learn somehow. Maybe this could be a feature request for GitLab Duo Chat. So we learned about CMake. Once this was working after 1 hour, something like that, we looked into writing more code and creating a user database, inserting user data, deleting users, updating users, changing the source code. And yeah, I mean, essentially, when coding started again, it became a little more fun. And we explored refactoring the source code, like explaining the source code first from a complicated, or like from a long list of source code, how to essentially refactor that, getting a suggestion how to create functions. And the most important thing is we learned that /refactor with some added refined instructions provides even better suggestions to refactor the source code. So we can use that as a way, and every time we don't understand something like a function parameter like SQLite transient, or opening an SQLite handle on a command line, or adding error handling, this is essentially a great way. So code tasks with refactoring, explaining code, and also generating tests, which is the next logical step, is a great learning curve here. And except for some more in-depth research how CMake works or how the lookup is implemented, it was, I would say, 95% asking GitLab Duo Chat instead, and learning from that experience. Now, we also learned what preprocessor macros in C include header files is. I think this was my main struggle when I started with C++ in 2002. I had no idea what this means. I just copy pasted it, and now I have the opportunity to ask someone, which I think is great. We will continue next week. I think probably with the same source code as of now. That being said, I hope you have a great week, and we will see each other soon with more using GitLab Duo, with code suggestions, Duo Chat, explaining source code vulnerabilities, or like fixing vulnerabilities, and more updates. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.